Hello, and welcome to my new channel, Exploring Justice and Peace through a Scriptural Lens. Our first topic dives into an important and thought-provoking question. Why, as Christian Americans, should we support Sharia law in Syria's new government? Everyone seems to be predicting the worst, that Syria will follow the path of Libya, Iraq, Somalia, and other nations that fell victim to jihadi revolutions. However, I take a contrarian view. This moment could mark a positive turning point for Syria and the broader region. Unlike those other revolutions, this transition has been relatively peaceful, with comparatively low casualties. In this video, I will explore why Sharia law in the context of a new government for Syria should be supported, not feared by Americans, Europeans, and especially Christians. While many respected analysts express concerns about militant groups such as HTS due to their past affiliations with Al-Qaeda and ISIS, I will not focus on those issues here just now, though war crimes must never be ignored. Instead, I want to address the potential of a united Syria under a Sharia law constitution to rise from the ashes. Many Western analysts predict that Syria will implode under sectarian disunity, fearing that radical jihadist tactics could lead to violent attacks on religious minority communities. While we should hope and pray that such atrocities do not occur, it is crucial to understand that such actions are inconsistent with Sharia law. In this discussion, I will highlight the often overlooked parallels between Sharia law and biblical justice, as well as the potential for Sharia law to provide a just and stable framework for governance in Syria. A united Syria built on principles of justice, dignity, and equity could offer a model for renewal, not only for its people, but for the entire region. Let's explore this question. Can Sharia law bring peace and justice for all Syrians? Sharia law, when properly implemented, has the capacity to deliver justice and protect the rights of all Syrians, including religious minorities like Christians, Alawites, Druze, and Shia Muslims. As Abrahamic religions, these groups are afforded protections under Sharia law. While it may not mean equal representation in government initially, Sharia law prioritizes justice and fairness, ensuring all Syrians have the freedom to live, work, and thrive in a society governed by moral principles. One of the overlooked strengths of Sharia law is its alignment with a free market capitalist system. Contrary to Western assumptions that rebuilding Syria require massive infrastructure programs or heavily centralized governance, the most crucial role of the new government should be to empower families and individuals with limited government controls. Syria's religious communities are known for their strong family structures. By stepping out of the way and allowing families to flourish through free markets, Sharia law can provide the framework for regional and national prosperity. Moral governance, a distinctive of Sharia law. Unlike unconstrained Western libertarianism, Sharia law incorporates moral constraints. It limits the spread of pornography, enforces modesty in public, and places restrictions on certain forms of speech and assembly. While these limits may seem restrictive to Western sensibilities, they serve to uphold community standards and moral order. These restrictions need not be restrictive to the religious minorities. Importantly, this does not mean that Syria would lack freedom. On the contrary, within these boundaries, individuals and families would have the liberty to build businesses, support their communities, and enjoy wealth building, recreation, and grow together as a nation. Many supporters of the axis of resistance, including Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, who oppose Israel's aggression and the ongoing ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, are now claiming that Assad's fall has dealt a critical blow to the resistance. While this is temporarily true, as Assad and Syria previously played an important role in the resistance, their role was never foundational. This is because the leader of the resistance, Iran, has historically failed to respect the sovereign aspirations of Syria's Sunni majority. In many ways, Iran has contributed both financially and militarily to the oppression of the Sunnis in Syria. This has created deep-seated resentment within the Sunni population. While I believe that a future reconciliation between a Sunni-led Syria and a Shia Iran is possible, rebuilding trust will take some time and effort. The Sunnis in Syria have been heavily marginalized, facing decades of systematic oppression under the Assad regime. This oppression can be traced back to the establishment of the secular Ba'athist Party and is exemplified by the Hama massacre of 1982 that was ordered by Bashar al-Assad's father. In February 1982, members of the Muslim Brotherhood seized control of the city of Hama. In response, Hafez al-Assad unleashed overwhelming military force, besieging and attacking the city to crush the rebellion. The result was a massacre on a scale reminiscent of the suffering endured by Palestinians in Gaza today. Estimates place the death toll as high as 40,000, accompanied by mass imprisonment and decades of systematic suppression. The 1982 Hama massacre helped to instill deep distrust and hostility between the Assad regime and Syria's Sunni majority, many of whom have long felt alienated and oppressed. This resentment resurfaced during the Arab Spring protest in 2011, when Bashar al-Assad once again used excessive military force, like his father, to suppress largely Sunni-led demonstrations. The ongoing revolution in Syria is fundamentally about two things: ending Assad's oppressive rule and establishing a governance system rooted in Sharia law. While this may challenge Western ideals of democracy, free speech, and an unrestricted press, it offers an alternative framework for moral and social cohesion, one that Western-style governance has often failed to understand or achieve. To ensure proper implementation of Sharia law, Syria should benefit from Syria has a rich tradition of teaching Islamic jurisprudence in Damascus schools, with scholars and institutions capable of guiding a Sharia-based legal framework. Damascus has one of the oldest and most respected traditions in Islamic jurisprudence, and it has historically been ranked among the best in the world. These scholars could guide the country toward justice and governance that respects Syria's religious and cultural diversity. Why Christians should support this? As Christians, we share a commitment to justice, moral governance, and family values, principles deeply embedded in both Mosaic law and Sharia law. Supporting a framework that prioritizes these values in Syria does not mean compromising our faith. Instead, it means recognizing the opportunity for Syrians to rebuild their nation on a foundation of justice that aligns with many of the ethical principles we hold dear. While the West often champions democracy, the Syrian revolution is a reminder that freedom does not always look the same in every cultural context. Sharia law offers an opportunity for justice, liberty, and prosperity, and it's worth supporting as Syria embarks on this new chapter in their history. Now, some closing thoughts. I want to provide some context to this discussion. My expertise lies in Christian and Jewish ethics, particularly as they are derived from the Hebrew Scriptures. While my research into Sharia law in the Middle East is still developing, I am writing a book on this topic and conducting extensive research to highlight the vast similarities between Muslim, Jewish, and Christian moral and civil law. I have a wealth of supporting evidence for the points I've made. But in the spirit of honest inquiry, I still consider my findings a working hypothesis rather than conclusive. For example, if Syria's Muslim majority cannot unite and instead implodes under sectarian violence, this would, in my view, represent a major setback for the opportunity to demonstrate what a Sharia-based nation could achieve once again. This reflects the process of inquiry, much like the scientific method, where you form a hypothesis, you gather the evidence, and you either prove, confirm, or disprove your hypothesis. In future blogs, I will explore key questions, such as why the Syrian rebels had a just cause for armed resistance against the Assad government. I'll also examine relative issues concerning the region, for example, Israel, asking whether Israel had just cause in its action toward the Palestinians, its action against Lebanon, and even Syria recently. Similarly, I'll analyze the actions of groups like Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran, investigating their adherence to principles of justice and whether their actions align with those principles. I plan to explore these topics in much greater depth in future blogs, and I invite you to join me on this journey of discovery and discussion. I'm also eager to hear from you. I expect to receive feedback, and I welcome your questions and comments. If you have insights or challenges, please share them in the comment section. In fact, I'd love to bring some of you on to discuss this further in future posts. Let's make this a dialogue, not just a monologue. And thank you. Bye for now.